check Facebook, make sure it's playing there. It is. And Two Brothers Gaming. All right. Yes. All right. All right. I'm going to move us to the actual game screen. So, all right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of Star Trek Steadfast with Two Brothers Gaming and Death Die Club. So, with me is my brother, the other sadder, not as handsome half of Two Brothers Gaming. Happy New Year, everyone. And Hugo from the Death Die Club. So,
Hey,
awesome. So, yeah. So, Two Brothers Gaming. It's me and my brother, like I said, and we were playing lots of different RPGs. Some of them were playing like we did when we were kids in the 80s, when it was just me inflicting pain and suffering on my brother. And for some games, such as this one, we have good friends with us to play. So the other thing I just will note that Two Brothers Gaming is working on its own RPG called Shards of the Shattered Moon. And we are going into beta and playtesting by the end of this month. So very excited about that. We'll hopefully be playing that game here on this channel in the near future. So Hugo, you want to tell us a little bit about Death Die Club?
yeah. So basically, officially, well, we started also starting playing around the 80s. We were unofficially a group of friends always. We decided just to make it a little bit more formal a couple of years ago, just trying to promote more role-playing games, especially here in Mexico. And one of the first projects we did was actually translating a couple of RPGs into Spanish. And so far, I mean, we've been trying to run more games. I mean, trying to uh, create more material in Spanish. We started blogging, and hopefully, if everything works out, we're trying to start a podcast in early February. So just
Awesome.
stay tuned for it.
Awesome. Fantastic. And I hope I have hopes that maybe Gen Con will be live in person again this year, and we'll be able to see each other in person again, Hugo. So
Yes,
yeah, awesome. Um,
definitely.
keep my fingers crossed for that. So that was actually kind of a good thing that I didn't have to pay my Gen Con fee this year. It rolled over. So I guess that's the silver lining of global pandemic. Forcing it to be virtual last year. But all right. And I do have my Romulan ale as we are playing Star Trek Adventures by Modifius. So this is our second episode. So we're still learning a little bit of the rules. But yeah. So, and obviously with the holidays, we had a bit of a break since our first episode. Do you guys even remember what happened in the last episode?
Oh, totally. We were basically, well, we had a mission to Cephas, and we got this distress signal. We ended up going out to help them, and it seems like, I mean, the crew we rescue, uh, it seems like they have, I don't know, some sort of a secret mission. They are really not I mean, giving us a lot of data, but they're pretty much asking us to change our plan. So that's at least for my character, a Vulcan, very organized, very structured. This like last minute changes, I don't feel comfortable with those requests.
That's about right, sir. So Perfect. All right. And so before we get into the meat of it, Doug, do you want to start off by telling us a little bit about the character you're playing?
Oddly enough, I play a Klingon captain of a Federation vessel, so that's very rare, obviously. Some of the Star Trek, what do you want to call them? Purists probably find that somewhat unusual, perhaps offensive. I'm not sure. But if they have a problem with it, they can arm wrestle my Klingon anytime online at Two Brothers Gaming. I do recall that were we not originally on a diplomatic mission?
Yes,
If I
sir.
recall, were we escorting an entourage? I
So
remember it's been a while, but
yeah, yeah. Zephus is a planet that has requested admission into the Federation, and your task was to go and evaluate the make the final determination if they were living up to the ideals of the Federation, and whether they could therefore be admitted finally as members. So.
and I believe we made contact with them, letting them know we were delayed because we have, by virtues of being a Federation ship, that we were responding to a hail, an emergency hail. So,
yeah, that's correct.
we were kind of juggling between two different entities, totally separate as far as we know from each other.
Yep, that's right.
Okay,
all right.
There you go.
And
Good night, everybody.
and by the way, I will quote the fellas from The Expanse, the writers of The Expanse, when somebody asked about how much canon should be obeyed with The Expanse RPG. They basically said, you know what, whatever the hell it is that you want. So, which is pretty cool. I remember our friends at High Shelf Gaming, David. I saw that on Twitter. So, all right. So Hugo, you want to tell us a little bit about your character?
Sure. So, like I mentioned, I'm a Vulcan. Well, I'm a little bit sort of like a non-standard Vulcan. I was actually born in one of the frontier colonies, so I'm probably a little bit more flexible than your regular Vulcan. Uh, but I do have quite some experience with diplomatic missions and this sort of activity. So I guess that's the reason why they put me here as chief of security, uh, uh, basically in the vessel. I guess I'm probably the sort of like the counterbalance to Doug's character. Hopefully I'm supposed to sort of like keep an eye out for him, just making sure that in diplomatic missions is we don't end up hitting someone when we should be talking. At least that's the way I see my main
That's
mission.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Wait a second. We put a murder hobo into our Star Trek game?
I'm not a hobo. That's the thing we'll talk about.
All right. Well, why don't we get into it proper? So, the first time we had Onus, the captain, read from his log, but I think we're going to start off with Satark and your security officer's log.
Definitely. So, security officer's log, start date 47680.1. So, while en route to the Cephas, we receive a distress call from the Catherine Johnson. Captain Madeline Erickson led the crew, and we successfully saved them, though we were unable to save the ship. Erickson insisted on bringing over sensitive cargo as a priority. We have yet to learn the nature of this cargo or Erickson's true mission.
Okay. So, yeah. So, and you, as you had mentioned, you did definitely send a message both to Cephas, and you also sent a message back to Starfleet as well, as I recall.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, because she had said, "Hey, if you got it, here, talk to them, and they'll let you know what's going on." So, yeah, with that, I kind of we kind of had left it. So you hadn't really talked to her in much form. So the commander. Being Madeline Erickson, the captain of the USS Katherine Johnson, which was a science vessel. And as a reminder, it was near basically kind of a quantum, a neutron star that they were at the very fringes of the disruption there. So, but you are all safely back on the Steadfast, and yeah, so. How do you gentlemen want to proceed?
It should also be noted that the crew was much more concerned about getting us, their, not so much their data, but the product that they had on their ship. They were willing to give their lives for it. It seemed we really had to twist our arm about what we could do to save them, whether it be their ship, themselves, the product, other data that they might have had from whatever research they have. So whatever we have, which we obviously don't know what's on our ship, which is a little concerning for the officers and I, was worth more than they thought with their lives. So I am a little nervous about it. Could be anything from a parasite to a weapon and anything in between that. So I think what we really need to do is, I wouldn't say interrogate, maybe question the captain of the other vessel from the research vessel, and then maybe get our scientist on analyzing perhaps what we can without blowing the ship up, so to speak.
I agree. I think we definitely need to go to talk with her and just figure out what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it makes sense that you don't want the ship to blow up, right? Yeah. So,
huh? It's a nice ship.
Yeah.
It wasn't really adding anything to what you were saying. I myself talk.
Yeah. No worries. So, yeah. So, what do you want to? So you can meet her in the the captain's ready room, in a conference room. Where do you kind of want to talk to her?
I'd rather talk to her in the conference room. It's probably a little bit more formal, but not around a bunch of people. It's not also a jail cell. I want this to be beneficial mutually. So if we could just have her brought to the conference room, we can have a discussion.
And in this case, I would probably suggest the captain that we try to have as, just probably one or two additional folks along with her. I mean, based on some of my experience with previous negotiations, captains do tend to try and act a little bit tougher than usual when they have subordinates actually looking over their shoulder. So the less people we can actually have in the meeting room, I think, the better off we are negotiating.
I agree. Make sure they're red shirts.
Well, we're next generation. Red shirts are command.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
You're a red shirt. Notice.
Hope there's an episode 3. You know.
I know.
All right. Yeah. So she comes in. She brings her first officer with her, and he's a older looking gentleman. He's dressed in this, obviously, the Starfleet uniform. He's in the red as well. But she doesn't introduce him or anything. She just kind of sits down and says, "So, Captain Jonas, I guess I should thank you for rescuing us and getting us out of a tight spot there. So and I presume you've spoken to Starfleet.
Yes, we have. Although I think we should have complete introductions. I think that's pretty normal. Can you advise who this is with you?
Oh, yes. This is my executive, my first officer, Titus Lever. And he just simply nods his head.
I want to know what's on my ship other than your crew.
So I also reached out to Starfleet to talk to them after you expressed your concern, which was, I think, an appropriate concern. But it is confidential, and you are going to be operating, and any information that we have, you're going to be operating under Starfleet regulation VX 9826, which is highly classified. You and any people that you designate have to be cleared by me before you can reveal any other information. So, and at this point in time, only the people in this conference room. So, who all is in this conference room besides you four?
Not sure if you want to have someone else though.
No, I think this needs to stay between
Okay.
you and I.
Okay. All right.
I wonder if we should have a science officer here.
Well, are you saying that to
They're going to analyze.
Captain? Okay, go ahead.
I'm asking Elsie if we want the science officer here as well because I'd like them to have knowledge of what we're dealing with here. This is obviously not a paper thing.
Yeah. So I mean, I turn around to Captain Madeline and say, well, I mean, Captain, I mean, before we actually call, I mean, we don't want. We see the point of actually this being confidential, and we don't want to involve more people than needed. But we do need at least to understand overall what we're dealing with. I mean, please, this vessel was designed as sort of a. I mean, we actually were on a well, like more on a political type of mission. So we might not be actually fully well equipped to actually handle whatever you brought in. You were on board a scientific vessel. So I mean, I need to understand if the crew of the ship runs any risk of, I don't know, from radiation to any sort of probably a viral agent. So and I think based on what you tell us, I mean, we might probably need to involve uh, either someone from our, let's say, our engineering or medicine department, or from the science group. So uh, anything else you can tell us about the cargo?
Yeah, Titus, why don't you give him the quick rundown? He says okay, and he pulls up he asks, may I use the computer to call up some images? Okay, so he calls up, and above the conference room table, the kind of a hologram appears, and spinning around kind of in a slow motion is what looks to be a piece of almost like metal, if you were to describe it, right? It's slowly kind of spinning, looks a bit twisted and stuff, but yeah. So it's kind of there. He says, "All right." He goes, "This is what we believe is what we're calling a quantum flux regulator. we're not exactly sure what a quantum flux regulator is exactly, but we're trying to develop some theories on it. Of particular importance is that this was found on a derelict Klingon warbird deep in Federation territory. This warbird was called the Balth Asuhak Beige, which translates to fire and honor. Onus, you recognize this name. It's actually
Of course I do.
It's a famous lost ship. It was lost over a century ago. And
By
it was,
What
lost,
makes
you
it so
mean-
famous?
Yeah.
yeah, well, it was led by a Klingon commander known by the name of Ron Kampak. He was particularly known for destroying a number of Federation ships during those tumultuous Federation and Klingon border clashes and war. And so he's, he captured a number of them. He was a particularly effective commander. Now, it's probably even more famous because the ship was lost. So and there are many rumors within Klingon society and history about why and how the fire and honor disappeared. But it's kind of has developed its own stories, and any number of them could be believed. But the most common one is that he was sent on an assassination mission into Federation space, and simply was caught, found out, and eliminated. Another was that he was defecting, and it was actually had decided that the war was more costly than the honor deserved, and was actually perhaps seeking peace, and may have been killed by his own crew, and the ship subsequently destroyed. So.
But they found this. You guys found this on that ship, is what you're telling me.
That's correct.
Is
Now,
there anybody on board?
there was no one on board the ship.
Any signs of violence or any bodies, cadavers? I mean, skeletons, anything?
No biological evidence whatsoever. The ship was found open to the vacuum of space, so it was without any air in it. When we restored it, there were looks to be like some phaser burns and stuff in various parts of the ship. That looked like there could have been some interior, combat aboard the ship. The ship itself was severely damaged. The reactors were non-functional, had been eliminated. The torpedoes were also, one empty and then non-workable. So the particular oddity about this ship is that when we found it, it looked like it had been there maybe, a year, not something that looks like it's been there a century, floating around in space.
Interesting. And I mean, what about the security or the captain logs? I mean, what were you able to find anything, or were they actually wiped out? Or
Uh, they were encrypted, and so we have them, but we've been unable to actually crack them and read them to get any sense of what's going on. It's an encryption we've not seen or experienced with any um, Klingon vessel or computer system before.
hmm.
When you secured this regulator, was it secure in the vessel or was it out and about? I'm not sure how to describe that, but was it secured?
It was. It was in the cargo bay itself, and it was actually in a special. It's this special containment field that we've kept it in, and it was essentially the only piece of cargo in that particular cargo bay.
No logs of where it came from on their end?
Not if they are, they're probably in that encrypted log that we were unable to read.
You have the log?
We have the logs, but we've not been able to crack them.
Would you allow us to have an opportunity to attempt to decrypt it? And if we do, we're more than willing to share the contents of what we find.
Yes, we would be willing to share it. We would want to ensure that they were kept under a particularly close watch, so and the decryption not be allowed to escape certain boundaries, so that other people might actually see them for security purposes, of course.
You said you had some theories on what this regulator can do. Would you mind sharing what your theories are?
When you ask that question, Madeline's like, she kind of huffs a little, shakes her head. Titus kind of gives her a look, and he looks at you and says, "The captain and I do not agree on its theory." And she says, "It's because it's a theory and you have nothing to back it up. So I'm waiting for evidence." And Titus is like, "Yeah, okay." So my theory is that
This is him talking.
This is Titus talking. My theory is that this particular device is used to manipulate time.
That was my first guess, yeah.
So, for what purpose or to what end, I don't know. But you know, at the time of the ship's disappearance, it was really a possibility. I think that the Klingons were beginning to realize. Excuse me, Captain Onus, but I think the Klingon Empire was beginning to realize that it was going to be a challenge, and they might not win it, even though they never said that publicly. It would not have surprised me if they wanted to attempt something radical, perhaps eliminate the Federation from its inception, perhaps find some way to alter the course of events for them.
Captain, what is your theory on what this regulator can do?
I am not offering any theories at this point in time. I am waiting for evidence to suggest to me what it might do.
Can you tell me a little bit about what is your specialty in the science field?
I have no specialty in the science field. I was assigned as captain of the Catherine Johnson to maintain security protocols, retrieve the Fire and Honor, and conduct any intelligence operations associated with that as I saw fit. We needed a science vessel and a science team because of the neutron star.
How did you find the ship? It seems like if that was your mission, you would have had some sort of idea of where it was. Can you share that?
Uh, it was reported by a nether science vessel that was in the area and reported it back. And Starfleet immediately understood the potential consequences and ramifications of what they were describing and asked them to leave and sent us in their place.
Hmm. May,
There
may
will
I?
be.
Sorry, go ahead, Captain.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so may I ask? I mean, are there any Klingons in your crew? Because I would assume if you identify this as a warbird, you would have probably asked for some sort of a Klingon help. Um,
Yeah, there are no Klingons aboard our vessel, the Catherine Johnson, and the orders from Starfleet Command were to um, keep this under the strictest secrecy at this point in time. They did not indulge me with an explanation of why that's the case.
You know, it's only a matter of time before the Klingon Empire realizes that the ship's been found. It's very possible the Klingon Empire also knew what was on that ship prior to losing contact with it 100 years ago. It would also seem that if they know that it's found and they know of a device that is potentially time altering, thus beneficial to the Klingon Empire's rise and continuance of power in the universe, that they will stop at nothing. Being Klingon myself, it would be a great honor to try to track down whoever took this from a warbird.
These are the orders I received, and so I'm executing on those orders. So that the decisions for the secrecy are not mine at this point in time. I think your cautions and statements are accurate.
Could you give us the coordinates of this warbird?
It's now within the gravity well of that neutron star. So we just got to it in time. Well, in fact, we did not get to it in time because we required your assistance to escape the gravitational pull.
So what do you think, Lieutenant?
So here, I mean, Patrick, a quick question. So let's say from let's say from an international, let's say from some salvage rules. So, I mean, I'm just trying to understand, let's say from a negotiation perspective, if the Federation found the ship, I mean, do we have like the legal right to, let's say, to the salvage, or I mean, what would be, let's say, politically the right move in this case? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out, like, based, let's say, from a negotiation perspective, what would my character suggest?
Yeah, so from a governmental standpoint, it was found in Federation space. It was an unoccupied vessel. There's probably a few other protocols you would have to ask the ship, Madeline Erickson about, but it by that definition and by those pieces, it's entirely within the right of the Federation to seize and take the vessel and claim it and have no obligation to return it. From a political standpoint, this is probably complicated by the fact that it is a famous ship, perhaps Satark probably doesn't know a lot about that, but clearly Otis does. If it is something of high honor and pride and stuff like that, that could complicate, and that certainly would indicate that the Klingons would want to retrieve any and all parts of the ship and crew that they could. So there's probably some complications there. 100 years though is a long time. So it could. They may not care as much about it now, but that's a little bit murkier waters on that particular front.
Mm-hmm.
What is the current climate between the Klingons and the Federation?
Right.
Is
Okay.
it
Yeah. So
hostile?
no. So we're in the next generation. We're in the next generation era. So you, Onus, I think we had set it up that you were actually an exchange. So you're a Klingon who is part of a. Well, there's an exchange. So they're friendly. It's not. Well, I shouldn't say friendly. They're at peace. There's not any attempt to have fight or anything like that. This is before the Klingons and the Federation have made an alliance, though. So this precedes the Romulan sort of attacks on the Klingon Empire, and that kind of really bring the Federation, the Klingon Empire together to form an alliance. So the Klingons are still the Klingons. They're still proud people who've come to some level of acceptance with a peaceful, negotiated peace with the Federation. So this could be problematic from a diplomatic standpoint in that sense, right? So if the Klingons came and said, "I want that ship back," or "I'll attack," the Empire itself may not push that too hard, but individual Klingon commanders might push that and see a chance to get some glory. Does that help, gentlemen?
That helps. I would probably say I turn around to the captain and say, "Well, Captain, I think we probably need to discuss this." I turn around to Captain Madeline and say, "Well, Captain, if you could probably allow us to take a look at the encrypted logs. We'll try to sort out, and we'll try to figure out if we can actually do something with them. If you will allow us a couple of minutes, I think the captain and myself, we need just to have a quick conversation."
Okay.
One other question for the other captain. Can you give us the name of your commanding officer?
Yeah, that is Jace Franco.
And he's the one that gave you the orders?
Yes, Admiral Jace Franco.
All right. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'd like to talk to my security officer. Please feel free to make yourself comfortable. We've provided some quarters for you, obviously. Then whatever we can find out from the decryption, we're going to be happy to share it with you. We'd love to solve this mystery with you. So if you think of anything else, or if we can help in any way, please don't hesitate to ask us.
Okay. Yeah, and I should note for the record, when we came on, I attempted to suggest that my mission was of critical importance and higher than your existing mission. I've been told by Admiral Franco that the decision of the order and pursuit of the missions that you have is within your discretion to follow, Captain.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for letting me know that.
Right. So she and Titus.
Yep.
I'm going to shake Titus's hand on the way out. Thank you for sharing what you knew.
Of course.
I appreciate your
Of course.
chili there. Maybe it's better now.
All right. So, yep. So they leave, and the door closes behind them.
Oof.
Have we heard of Admiral Franco before? You know him?
Yeah, you've heard of him. Not, not with, other than just like hearing of Admiral Franco occasionally. You don't know a lot about him, though. No.
Do we know if he's like into clandestine operations, that kind of thing? Is that his review?
You do not know if he is or is not.
Am I close or respected by my commanding officer?
So your commanding officer has taken a great leap of faith in letting you be the commander and retaining your command of the ship after the death of your former captain, who was your mentor. It seems like you have your commanding officer's respect. They're not going to just let anyone command a Starfleet vessel or send you even on a diplomatic mission if they didn't have a level of confidence in your abilities. That said, your ship has been posted fairly far away from the Klingon Empire territory.
Smart. What is my what's my admiral's name?
It is Aaron Caxton.
All right. So, Lieutenant, your thoughts, obviously, I hope we have a crack team of decipher specialists.
I hope we have it. I think we'll give it a shot. I would probably say right now, my biggest concern is, I mean, you're probably more familiar with the whole history of this ship and the equipment, but if it has such a, let's say, long history inside, let's say with the Klingons. I would assume that if they do find out about this, we might be in the middle of an intergalactic, conflict. I'm struggling. I really want to stay with our mission, but I'm concerned that, well, number one, we truly don't understand what we have on board. I don't even think Captain Madeline is even aware of what she brought on board. And I'm afraid, I mean, this can actually end up generating more problems for us. That's number one. Number two, like I said, I mean, if the Klingons find about it, I'm not sure what could happen. And I would probably say, I mean, I've heard a little bit about Admiral Franco, so at least, I mean, what I know is he's somewhat respected. I would probably say we should probably just change our mission temporarily and just make sure we actually deliver this Captain Madeline along with the cargo to a safe area so we can return to our main mission. But I'm a little bit, I'm concerned. I don't think we actually have right now the full knowledge of what's going on in here. And I think we might actually be putting the crew at risk. I would like to hear what you think about
it. If it is a time-altering item, it could change everything that has ever existed, good or bad. And I'm not a big fan of playing time travel. In fact, I would be more inclined to making this thing disappear completely. I am also interested in knowing why they sent a science crew to a derelict ship that's been missing for 100 years and not some sort of security team. If what they're looking for, they obviously knew what was on that ship, in my opinion. They're not treasure hunters, right? I mean, it doesn't seem like their mission aligned with their vessel makes a lot of sense yet, especially as secretive as it is. Now, it may become secretive after they notified Admiral Franco what they found. I don't know a lot of Federation science ships that stay within the Federation looking for missing ships. We're more of exploratory, right? We're more being outside our comfort zone of the Federation. So some things are not making sense to me, and I don't. We're not getting the full story, and
I agree.
Whatever you decipher, I think we should hold on to it without giving away any information yet until we know more. I am not exactly comfortable with talking to Admiral Caxton either. We did give our word that we would keep this between you and I and the other two, and I don't want to go back on that, as honor is important to me, obviously, as a Klingon. So when it becomes a threat to existence, that's a different story. But for now, I think we just need to find out what we have. And I don't know. Oh, by the way, Patrick, was Titus a human?
Yes.
Okay. I think we need to dive into some personnel files if we can, too. I don't know how much of that is public within the Federation for us to find out if these people are really who we think they are. Who they claim to be, I should say.
Agree. So then I think we should then focus on two things. Number one, just getting as much information on Titus and on the captain as we have available. And the second one is, I think I can probably get a small crew. I agree with you. We don't need to make a full disclaimer of what they are helping us with, but we need them to help us try to decrypt this. I'll make sure that if they find something, we'll figure it out. I mean, how to keep it secret. But right now,
sure.
I don't think it's on a need-to-know basis. Basically, we're just gonna ask them for help, and if they manage to decrypt it, then we'll debrief them.
I assume we still have security personnel around the. I don't even know what we want to call this. Call it the regulator for now. But I'm assuming we have security detail around the regulator, because I don't trust exactly the crew of the science vessel yet.
No, so I definitely I think I can instruct Elsie just to basically take a small crew, and I'll ask her just to personally just guard this object. I trust her, and I know that she can be she can definitely keep it safe, and if there's anything weird, she'll notify us immediately.
Okay. So Patrick, we're going to attempt to decrypt this.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so it's going to take quite a bit of probably some effort to decrypt this, because it'll, it's quite a bit of if they've had trouble decrypting it, it's not just obviously it's just not a simple.
Yeah, but we have Hugo. They don't have Hugo. Wild card.
So yeah.
I do want to say we also want to more thing, Patrick. I'm sorry. We do want to set course for our diplomatic mission. So I would like to proceed for that goal as well. I mean, there's no sense in sitting here waiting. We might as well make some headway towards our original destination.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So so you make that so, and you proceed back onto the route to get to the Zephans. Do you want to let them know that you're back on a path to get to them?
How many days are we away? Was it a couple days?
It was a day.
Yes. Please. Yeah, we want to communicate that we are at a minimum a day away.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Minimum.
All right. Yeah. So to crack or attempt to crack this encrypted 100-year-old Klingon log and basically their computer, you're going to have to do a number of different checks to succeed at this. So, why don't we do it so that, and obviously you can use some, computer, some science, and some of those kinds of things. So, I think I'd like to see. You get a total of 12 successes before you fail 5 checks.
Mm.
Ooh, tall
Ooh.
order.
Yes. I think in this case, man. So you said we need
Not
that
so
would be
just to be clear, not 12 successful checks, 12 successes. So
exactly. Mm-hmm.
so if you get extra successes on your rolls, those count. So.
Mm-hmm. And in this case, in terms of attributes, we would have that would be reason and science.
I think reason and science make a lot of sense. You could use, so that's going to be that for the ship. You probably would use computers and science for that, and then obviously whatever focuses, if you have any that are applicable.
Mm-hmm. I think okay. So looking at the crew, I think we probably want to get. Man, I think we probably want to get. Let me take a look at Sabine, but I think we could probably want to get Monty on it. Let me see. Um, hmm.
Reason and what was the other one? Security?
Computers that the ships provide.
Oh, gotcha.
Mm-hmm. So I no, you know what? I think probably Sabine from the science. We can probably get her.
Yeah, that's 11, right? That's good.
Yep. So okay, it's that one plus the computer. Got it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm probably going to up the complication range on this one. So as a reminder, that's the one where normally a 20 is an automatic complication, but I can extend the complication range so that lower numbers become a problem as well, where they become a threat. So.
Okay, got it. So, Doug, do you want to roll for Sabine and I roll for the computers?
That sounds good.
Yeah, so for the complication range, make that a 2.
Oof, okay.
So that means that a 19 and a 20 will introduce
Okay.
a threat versus just the 20.
I got one quick question before we roll. So when I roll Sabine, I got reason. But what discipline would I do? I'm sorry. I forget
Science.
how to. Oh, okay, good. Okay, I had it set up right. All right.
Did you just roll that, Hugo? The 2
It
successes?
there's an 11. Yeah, no, yeah, 2 successes. No, I rolled that at before we started the
Oh, okay.
the
All right.
session. So no, I didn't roll. Yeah.
All right. So, you guys going to buy any extra die?
Hmm.
Can we do it as we progress if we start seeing that things are not going well?
You have to do it before you do the roll, but you do not.
Okay.
You can do it. You can always do it afterwards, where you're like, yeah, I kind of need more success. I'm going to do a little bit more. So you could not this particular roll. You could not buy extra die, but you could change that later on. Absolutely.
Okay. And just to have it, you mentioned we need 10 successes before we get
12.
12 before we get 5
Mm-hmm.
failures or
Failed checks.
or failed checks. Okay, got it. Got it. Okay.
Trying to sneak out way 2 of them, Hugo.
That was a good try. Security guy.
I know. Okay. Got it.
We roll them together. Like he'll roll the steadfast, and I roll the science officer, and then I considered one roll. Patrick.
Yeah, I'll count that as one roll. Because really, what you're doing with the ship is it's an assist basically. So it's not a separate roll.
Forget where the roll button is.
It's on the task roll.
There we go. All right. Task roll, and it should be on a 2, right?
Yes, because that's your basically 2d20.
Yes, zeros. Perfect start.
Okay. Okay. Well, see, that's. Oh man, no, that was a 19, right?
Yep. So you got a success. So, but you failed one roll. So, and then
1 and 1.
Yep.
Okay.
And now you introduced and I get to introduce a threat. And by the way, don't forget you have momentum you can spend for buying that extra die, and you can also, if you generate extra momentum, or you can always create an advantage or remove a complication, or something like that. So, and you can always give me threat in lieu of having momentum to buy that extra die. So, I think Sabine is kind of working on this, and she notices that as she's working on that encryption, that the computer comes back and starts flashing a warning that she has tripped a security protocol, and the logs will self-destruct in it looks like 2 hours.
Yeah, when you said self-destruct, Hugo's hand immediately went to his face.
Yeah.
This.
Okay, I mean, the way I see it, they really didn't have any data. So if we look, I mean, if they get self-destructed, it's like we're back to square one anyway. So, well, let's continue.
All right.
Roll again.
Okay.
And you guys aren't buying any extra die or anything? I just want to, because I just want to make sure you guys are aware that you have the opportunity, not requiring you to. Just let.
I don't think I have any momentum.
You have 2 to start with as a pool.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay. I already rolled, so it's too late for me.
I'll go like that. I think we probably can buy some on the next one. So let's see. Good. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 successes so far.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm gonna roll again.
Okay. So yeah, she keeps working at it. The time keeps ticking down, but doesn't seem to be speeding up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Give me complications.
Oh man, that was a 20. Man, I hate it. Okay.
No, I know, man.
Okay, let's see. Okay, 1 more success. So.
All right. So
okay, so we have 6 successes and 2 threats, right?
Yeah. So that additional threat, the clock starts to speed up in terms of the self-destructing, and I'm going to increase the complication range from a 2 to a 3 for ongoing rolls.
Ah, man.
Oh.
Now we can do it. We can do it.
All right.
There we go. Okay, 8 successes. And 2 more.
Yes.
Okay, we're up to 10. Okay, there we go. But we got the 2, right? Well.
Yep, you got the 2. You got because you got a 1 that counts as automatic 2 successes. And by the way, I assumed you weren't banking any of these and saving them as momentum, which you can do. So that would take you over the threshold, though. But I get another complication to add. Or you could say, spend one of those one of those extra successes and eliminate, basically create an advantage that would also require a second momentum point, though.
So I'd have to spend 2 momentum to get rid of the threat?
Yes, to get rid of the complication. Mm-hmm.
Well, let me see. I'm missing the roll, so let me roll anyway for the and we can decide.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Okay. Nah. No, so I think I should probably, I mean, since yours got us already to the target, I can use mine just to cancel my threat, right?
Yeah, you need 2 momentum to cancel that 1.
Oh, 2.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So there are 2 uncanceled complications that I have available to me. Mm-hmm. You've got 3 successes. So 1, you have additional success above and beyond what you need if you right now. So You could bank that as momentum. You could kill. You could cancel out one of the complications by spending that extra momentum and one from your existing pool, and leaving one. You could cancel out both by basically using all three of those successes there. And I would say take it as a failed check, and also one from your existing pool. So,
What's our current?
How about? Yeah, go ahead.
How many successes and how many fails are we at this point?
right now you're at 10 successes and one failed check.
Only one fail.
Correct.
What do you think, Hugo?
Yeah, let's cancel the threat. I would say I think we can use one of our momentums and one of the extra dice.
We cancel the threat, you scallywag.
Okay, so you're gonna get to the 12, and then you're gonna spend one of your existing momentum. So I will reduce that on the screen to 1. All right, so there's one threat left. Okay. You see Sabine working, and then she's like, "Yeah," and and it's sort of all that Klingon kind of text that was encrypted unscrambles on the screen into sort of like standard Klingon onus. You recognize, you can see, oh yeah, those are words now. I can see what those are. And then it also provides a translation. And it is it'll take you a little bit of time to go through it because there's a lot of logs, right? It's a significant amount, but you're able to key in on some stuff pretty straight on. So Iran Khat was sent into the Federation with this particular device, with the goal of basically going back and attempting to alter the timeline to prevent the Federation from forming to begin with. It seems they were operating off some sketchy data. They don't even actually know where the device came from. It was found apparently somewhere in Klingon Empire space, out near the edges of their empire on the far side of the thing. So they don't even know where it came from. But apparently they theorize you have to get it close to the location where you want to get back in sort of a kind of a time frame from. So it has kind of a location based time travel element. That's a sort of the crude way they kind of say about it. That seems to be the purpose. They went into Federation space. There's a series of logs saying how they were got past the weak human fleets, and there were porous holes, and he was ready to shove the knife into the heart of the Federation and kill it and bring glory to the Fire and Honor. And the final bit of bits of the log indicate that they had started the quantum flux regulator and turned it on. It had spun up, and they then said there is a ship approaching that just decloaked, and that's the last of the communication.
Ooh, man.
No, so they don't have cloaking technology, right?
Romulans and Klingons are the only ones that
They
you know
do?
that have
I'll be
cloaking
darned, I
technology.
learned something.
And that's it. I mean, there's nothing beyond, let's say, after the decloaking, after the approach from that vessel.
Nope, that's the last entry.
If it was Klingon, they beamed aboard
Yeah, but
the
if
other ship.
now here's the question. I mean, it's the only thing that I don't get is if they actually boarded the ship, um, why leave the machine there? I mean, if they knew what they were going after, why not actually take it?
Hmm. Oh, I see what you're saying.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I could totally see them killing the crew and ejecting them to space, but why is the machine? I mean, the only thing I can think about is if everyone actually ended up boarding the spacecraft and they decided just to open up all doors and just, I mean, sacrifice everyone, just get them out, shoot them out to space. I mean that, but still, I mean, I would imagine that there would have been someone else in the other vessel or what happened. Well, okay, now did they mention that? I mean, that all the, I mean, there were no missiles in this.
There was one missing.
One missing.
No, all the torpedoes had been fired, but
They
then
had been
but
fired.
it was
Oh,
also
had been fired.
but
Oh,
it was
okay.
or there were none in it. The presumption is presumably Klingon
Okay.
warbird had all the torpedoes in
But
it.
there would have been logs indicating some sort of torpedo firing. I would.
Yeah,
think.
the torpedo firing mechanisms were damaged. So that Titus did indicate that they were damaged along with the reactor.
What if they were sabotaged?
No.
And then they beam aboard to another Klingon vessel that just entered, and then their goal is to set this thing off and get away. I mean, do they really need to
Yep.
still be there when they set it off?
Well, but I mean, just think about it. I mean, if someone actually had survived, why did you have stories about this shit? I think, I mean,
True.
I mean, what if this was like some sort of a Mexican standoff? And what if, I mean, at the end of it, they destroyed the other ship, and if they actually had a boarding party inside, they just kill everyone. I mean,
Very
that would
honorable
explain.
death.
Yeah, it would be, and that way you have no witnesses. You have there's only one vessel at the end, and that's the only reason why the machine would still be on board.
Right.
Man, okay, now the only thing I'm concerned about, okay, so I think at least this definitely confirms what they wanted to use the machine for. So um and well, I mean, I definitely I'm gonna defer to you, Doug, because I mean, being a Klingon, you probably know better. But uh, I would assume that even 100 years later, um, I don't know if you have some sort of seditious pockets of people inside the Klingon Empire. I mean, I would assume that we probably have some folks in there who would be
I would
willing
think
to,
so. Yeah.
yeah.
They're
So
always going to find the Federation to be evil.
hmm so if they find that this survived, yeah, this could get us into trouble.
Yeah, there's definitely pockets of people Klingons who are disappointed and ashamed and find the peace between the Federation and the Klingon Empire a disgrace, and want to honor the the traditional ways. So yeah, that's an easy supposition, and very likely that's a possibility. So.
So our next move, I mean, we agreed to share this with the captain. So, and I think in this case, we probably need to add Sabine to the conversation and just, I mean, since you pretty much help us, I mean, decipher this. So,
Right.
should we call them and talk about this? What we found in here?
Yeah, I think so. Here that changes much of the narrative. It basically confirms what we thought we knew.
Hmm. Got it.
All right,
So
Patrick.
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so I'll probably just, I mean, approach Sabine and say, well, thank you, Sabine. This is an excellent work. We probably need you um, to come with us to a meeting. I mean, please. I mean, this information is highly classified, so we would really appreciate if you um just try not to mention this to anyone. And would like to invite you to a conversation. Um, with Captain Madeline and the XO.
Yeah.
Okay,
She's all for it.
and I let Doug just call Captain Sabine, and we could probably meet again at the meeting room.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So yeah. So she comes back in. Titus is. They both sit down. Titus is like, "So did you succeed where we did not?"
Of course. We're the Steadfast. And then we'll just relay what we found out about the ship and its unusual ending.
Okay. Erickson says that there's nothing on the logs about the ship that decloaked or what happened afterwards.
No, and I was hoping, since you guys were in that area and around that ship, if you could describe, did you see any debris fields or anything of that nature?
No, we didn't, but I mean, that place was a gravitational mess. Who knows what was there? How much could have changed over 100 years? It would have, it was probably good fortune or accident or what have you that we even were able to get to the Fire and Honor and retrieve that. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
very lucky. Very lucky. It sounds like they tried to power it on, but when you found it, it seemed secured.
Yeah, it was in the containment vessel that we found it in, which seems to be, um, itself a way of containing the quantum fluctuations. And I don't know how much you know about quantum mechanics or anything like that, but it's almost as if it keeps it in a constantly altering Schrodinger state. It's like constantly flattening the wave function and also retracting it so that it's always kind of in this kind of Schrodinger state is in there. So, which is of course in and of itself a magnificent technological achievement there. And by the way, far exceeds anything that we know about Federation or Klingon technology at this point in time. This really shouldn't be possible. So it's possible that their turning it on is what killed their reactor.
Yeah.
How do you turn something like this on?
Well, they had power cords hooked up to it. So
But somehow when you found it, it was already back into its containment.
it's the containment has power couplings to it.
Oh, okay.
So you send power through the containment device, which then we think activates it, draws power, and does whatever it is that it's expecting to do.
You think it's instantaneous, or is there a time duration on getting it actually fully functional?
Um, my guess is, so if we go with the notion that it could actually do this, I would suspect it would take an enormous amount of power, and that would take time to get up to something that could actually do that. But that's Titus. What do you think, Titus? Like, yeah, I don't see how it could be instantaneous. I mean, the power buildup would take time. Perhaps the actual, movement in time would be instantaneous, but again, that's hypothetical because we haven't used this.
Seems to me they didn't really understand how much power they were going to need. So it sounds like they're almost rogue. They're using what they had, didn't have anywhere else to fall back on if they needed a bigger Klingon vessel. It just seemed like we know we have this technology. We're not really sure how to use it. We want to go out in a glorious way, so we're going to activate this because this is for the betterment of the Klingon Empire. That's the way it sounds to me.
It certainly seems reasonable. I would even wonder how they even thought it was a device that would do what they said it was going to do. I mean, how do you even know that?
Well, it's not clear. I mean, at least what we were able to gather from the logs, it's not even clear where they actually got it. So we can only assume that if they found it, they were probably just to pick up some bits and pieces of information on how to operate it. So I would say they probably had a general understanding of what this did, but I mean they were not 100% sure actually how to operate it. So that would actually explain why they would like to try it, how they knew it would actually work. But I mean, that's like having an incomplete instruction manual. They just knew what it did, but they were not sure how to do it. Yeah.
It's
So
too
in
bad we
this
don't have logs on work.
Yeah, so in this case, I mean, we just want to just make you aware that here, Sabine, help us crack it out. I think we probably need to debrief her on this, but it's given that she helped us with this, but I would probably say that we need to keep this just inside this room, and the captain probably told you. I mean, we're continuing right now with our current mission, but I think as soon as we complete it, we definitely need to get this back, and we need to be very careful about it. It's uh, even though 100 years might seem like a long time, we are sure that there are still people who would be interested in getting a hold of this technology. So
Yeah. Makes sense.
yeah. Okay, Captain, not sure how you want to proceed right now.
I assume that's Captain Otis, not Captain Erickson.
yeah, exactly.
Captain Erickson, what are your planned next steps then?
Well, our mission was to get that device back to a Federation research station. far away from Earth and Vulcan and the other primary planets out sort of in the middle of nowhere that I have the access path to. So my next step after checking in with Admiral Franco is to stay with the device. If you decide you need to work with the Zephans and complete that mission first, I will stay here and work with you. Your next mission after that would be to take the device to that station. Or if you want to go to the station first, I will depart at that point in time with the device.
We're going to continue on with our mission. I'll advise you of any changes in our flight pattern or any other decisions that might be made at this time.
Of course, Captain.
And so I kind of give the wave like, you may go now.
Okay. So she and Titus get up and leave.
Hugo, I'm wondering if maybe we should contact Admiral Franco ourselves and take over this mission ourselves.
I think
It is on our it's on our ship. He obviously knows who we are. He knows of our other mission. Obviously, he's given us the pass to do ours first.
I think we should, because at least I don't. Man, it's like I mean, there's still something off about the whole story there with Captain Madeline. I mean, if they knew what they were looking for, I'm just amazed that they are sending just a small group of scientists. I mean, it's no security, no nothing. I mean, if they truly knew what they were looking for, or if they had the slightest idea, it seems way too risky just to send scientists.
I do find it odd that the captain doesn't want to give any theorems when the whole notion of science is based on having some sort of guess and then trying to prove or disprove that guess. It doesn't seem, I mean, that's what they live for. I mean, it seems that Titus certainly has that idea. I'm not so sure she is a science officer, especially when she wouldn't give me a specialty.
Mm-hmm. Agree. I agree. I think we definitely need to contact Admiral Franco.
All right, Patrick, we're going to contact Admiral Franco. I hope it's really early in the morning for him so we wake him up.
Well, it's going to take a little bit of time to get the message. So what message do you want to send?
I'd like to send him an update. Request his presence. And I'm asking for a request. I don't know how to phrase that, but
Okay. Just a
mission transfer request or something.
Okay. All right. So yeah, so you can package that up and send it. It'll probably take a couple of hours before you get a response.
Even by Google?
Even by Star Trek Google.
Star Trek Google.
Great, and I think after that we just proceed with our regular mission. I mean, if it's going to take us a while, if we're not that far away, I think we can probably complete it by the time we get a response back.
Agreed.
Well, it will.
On for diplomacy.
It will take a bit longer to complete that, because that's probably the response will probably come, and the Zephans it'll be a couple. You've got a couple of days worth of activities at the very least with the Zephans.
That's okay. Steadfast has nothing but time. Literally in our cargo hold.
Well, because with the Zephans, basically you're going to have to follow a number of different protocols. So you have been provided material about the Zephans so that you can, be prepared given the diplomatic items around that. So one, it's noted in your pamphlets that the way that the Zephans are described, they're a militantly democratic people. All the citizens are cybernetically linked, and all measures are voted on, often in the blink of an eye without any explicit request. So imagine every measure was basically broadcast to everyone cybernetically. They just thought, oh yeah, I want the price of eggs to be X amount of dollars, right? Of course there's no money, but it comes through the heads, and they basically vote on it, and it's nearly instantaneous, and they pretty much do that with everything. So,
Wow.
All right. Now, the Zephans disdain titles and honors. So everyone in Zephan society is called citizen. So just to note that they do not like titles. So the expected set of events over the next coming days that you can expect. One is that there will be a formal greeting and introduction. They've already prepared a tour of the Great Museum of Memories, and then a formal dinner with essentially the leaders of the Zephans, and this is referred to as the Star Chamber. So the Star Chamber acts as essentially the executive body. So the petition basically, they've claimed that they are a peaceful species for the past 200 years. They are capable of creating warp engines, so that would satisfy the advanced level of technology requirements to be a part of the Federation. They've had a stable and globally unified government for the past 200 years as well, which is, of course, incredibly important. You need to validate that they do not discriminate and that all individuals are equal, and that they share the values of the Federation: benevolence, peaceful coexistence and cooperation, the rule of law, and equal rights and justice. So it's your job to validate, essentially, that they meet those thresholds for Federation membership. Your recommendation will determine whether they actually make the final cut or not. All right? So the Federation may say, welcome, or if you say nay, they're going to be like, you're not ready for it yet.
Got it.
All right, but you'll have to justify why that's the case. All right.
All right.
Okay. So, so basically you do arrive there, and do you take a shuttle down, or do you want to transport down, or transport her down?
I'd say shuttle.
I would say shuttle.
Okay.
And my suggestion would be, I would probably suggest that the ship stays at least in yellow alert. I would probably say not because of any threats uh, from, in this case, any threats from Cephas, uh, but I'm still a little bit nervous if word gets out about what cargo we have. So I would probably say from my side at least. I mean, I'm asking Elsie definitely to stay on board, and she's gonna be basically leading all security for this machine. I mean, she's gonna be totally in charge of it, and just I'm gonna have her report me. Uh, I don't know, let's say at regular time intervals if everything's okay. Uh, in this case, I would probably suggest that we leave both Captain Madeline and Titus on board of the ship. We're not taking them down, uh, but
No.
still, I want them to. I want Elsie just to make sure that someone keeps an eye on them. I mean, I'm hoping they don't try to do anything stupid while we're down there.
Okay. Captain, do you agree?
I fully support that decision. Yeah.
Okay. So, who is going down with you to the planet on the shuttle?
Hmm.
Communications officer, probably.
Yeah. I would probably take Brom from the medicine area, and probably just. I mean, I think probably the rest of the group can stay up there, and probably just a small contingent of probably security officers. I don't know, 5 or 6, just with us. I think. I mean, if it's more of a diplomatic mission, I mean, the less number of people we have down there, the less possibility we we mess up something.
All right.
You want me to go down there?
Of course.
You would be expected to go, given the nature of this mission.
I got a thing though.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got a Klingon thing. All right. Cool. All right. So when you get into system, you hear the hailing frequencies pop open, and the con says, Captain, there's they're hailing from planet side.
Meaning the Zyphons?
Zephans. Yep.
Zephans?
Mm-hmm.
Zephans?
Zephans.
Come on.
Steven.
Zephans.
Could make a big difference.
Okay. Open transmission.
Okay. On screen or just audio?
Oh, on screen's fine. They can see who's coming.
All right. So on the screen, you see the face of what you know to be a Zephan. They are sort of they're humanoid, as most aliens are in Star Trek, but yet they have kind of almost kind of a leathery kind of face with some ridges at the kind of the top of the head that kind of look. They don't have eyebrows. It's almost like, but they just kind of got these ridges that are popped up there. But and they kind of almost kind of dark grayish kind of skin color. And the person on it says responds, USS Steadfast. This is Star Chamber member Kolakan Vaughn. Welcome to Zephans.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. We're very much looking forward to making your acquaintance.
We are welcome. We are glad to have the Federation here finally confirm our petition for membership. We think you will be greatly pleased with what you find. When we will await your shuttle at our capital city.
Very well. We will see you there.
All right. We'll send you the coordinates for the location. Thank you. And goes off screen. Okay.
Is Hugo still here? He's frozen and
Yes.
warm.
I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
As long as you're here. I want to make sure we didn't lose you.
No,
Unless you didn't
no.
like get to step on the shuttle or something like that.
All right.
All right, so we will go to the designated landing area.
Okay. So the shuttle lands. When you kind of able to look out, you see a number of probably about a dozen of the Zephans wearing kind of long robes, basically bright purples and yellows and sort of really vibrant colors. It's a sunny day. The city itself has some interesting architecture, lots of sort of like spirals climbing into the sky, very high structures and whatnot. You do know that prior to this period of prolonged peace that they had a devastating war that almost destroyed their civilization. So they've clearly recovered from that, and there's some kind of odd music. At least you presume it's music from the sounds of it and what the attempts are, but it's not quite like anything you've heard. And there's some kind of fluty kind of sounds, the person who had greeted you, Kolkan Vaughn, walks up to you, and he does kind of just a very little bow, which you have read is part of kind of how they just kind of standard greeting of everyone. Instead of a wave or a handshake, they just kind of do this little bow, and he says, Captain Onus and crew of the USS Steadfast, we welcome you to Zephas.
It's an honor to be here. We are very much looking forward to seeing how you might be of great service and benefit and a mutual respect to the Federation.
And we look forward to demonstrating that to you. As our first stop, we would like to introduce you to our history by taking you through the Great Museum of Memories. So, as our first stop on our itinerary. But I must ask, I know you've just arrived, and would you need a break and a refreshment before we move to the Great Museum of Memories, or would you prefer to proceed directly there too?
How do I word this?
I would probably say a question I have, let's say from an etiquette perspective, do I know how they value time? Or let's say, because if everyone's connected, I'm not sure. I think probably already everyone sort of like, they probably know what everyone else is thinking, or at least they have an idea. So I think they probably value time and order way too much. So any notion if we ask for unnecessary stops, how it will be viewed?
Well, it just so happens, Satark, that you have an etiquette focus for your reason skills. So, or actually, why don't we use your insight and science, and why don't we go ahead and apply that etiquette focus? It's going to be 2 difficulty, so you need no, just 1 success on this. Complication range is normal, so it's just
Okay.
a 1.
So 1. Okay. Now the focus. How do you does it add anything to the roll in this case?
It becomes automatic success. So it's an automatic 2 success if you so you click that yes focus is used for it.
It's got it. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So any success I think ends up being a 2, counts as 2 successes. So not just the 1 because you're using that focus.
Got it. Let's see. So and we said that the complication range is a 1, right?
Correct.
Okay. So
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
All right. Cool.
Got 1.
All right. So they very much value time. So it is important to them to keep to a schedule, to adhere to a schedule, and to work through it. They consider it very rude if somebody shows up even a minute late. And there's actually this hierarchy of time. So when they say a meeting starts at 1 p.m., for example, there's actually this hierarchy of time based off of your kind of importance in the meeting. If you're less important in the meeting, you're supposed to actually be there like 15 minutes early. And if you aren't there 15 minutes early, you're actually late. But if
you're late,
right?
Yeah.
But if you're the
Bill Belichick of
yeah, so yeah, or my old roofing job when I showed up last, even though I was early, I was late. But and then the more sort of important you are to the meeting itself, you're actually not supposed to show up early. You're supposed to show up like on time. So there's they have whole drama series in Zephan Society where it makes fun and kind of parks, where somebody like bumps into somebody and pushes them into the meeting room like a second too early, and it disrupts the entire sequence of events. So there's that, there's definitely a real time bound sort of mentality around these people.
But it's interesting, as they join the Federation, they're going to have to get used to not everything being the way that the Zephans go through everyday normal life, obviously. So maybe a little sidetrack is a good way to gauge how do they deal with this new problem, so to speak. How do they solve? So if I were to say, Hugo, for example, the Federation is values very importantly the value of equal rights. So I would like you to take me to your prison, your lowest prison, so to speak, and I want to see how you treat your prisoners. Would that make their heads explode, Hugo?
Based on what I know, well, I mean, you're taking them off schedule, but still, I mean, I definitely, but I think in the end, I mean, now remember they have all this telepathic, well, sort of like link, so they can be ready for anything you can come up with. So I would say if you really want to surprise them, I think you need to do something spur of the moment. I think giving them way too much advance, like telling them, "Hey, I would like to go here." I can see them just getting ready for your visit. I mean, they'll communicate it and they can start working on getting ready. So
that makes sense.
Okay, so I would probably say, Captain, White, I believe you wanted to take a rest. I'll go ahead and start. I'll head up to the museum and we'll wait you for there. I mean, knowing, I mean, the whole situation about time, you're more important than me, so I'm probably expected to get there early, and that will give you some time to do something weird.
Okay. Klingon walking around the city is just. Oh, look at this.
So Kolokons, like, of course, we can certainly start the tour at the museum and catch the captain up as he when he arrives. So, of course.
There have to have been previous visits, right? I mean, this is the last of a long line of things they've had to do.
Yeah.
I can't imagine a museum as being one of the first or last things that they would show somebody. I think they'd want to introduce them at the very, very beginning of their history. I mean, it'd be bad if you found out at the last second as you're walking through the museum that they've destroyed every single known world that they've actually landed on. You have our history now. Accept us. So I find that to be a little strange. Are you buffering, Patrick?
No, I'm waiting to see if that spawns anything, or if we go to the museum.
What was your? We've heard Federation has plenty of information on your history that is rich and gives a tremendous amount of knowledge on where you have come from and where you plan to go. Like any civilization, you've had strife and you've had great success. And it seems that I don't need a museum to tell me, your current, where you're at. I'm sure the Federation has made plenty of inquiries on your civilization from a history perspective. So I am not really interested. No offense to you. I know I want to value your time, and I'd love to proceed. The sooner we proceed through this, the sooner we can get you as a member of the Federation. So I find this to be not a good use of yours or my time.
We've not, of course, interacted with the Klingons before, and perhaps this is a normal way with which you deal with diplomacy. But I would simply suggest to you, sir, that even though you may have read or understood the nature of our history, we feel it is important that you understand from where we came and how we have developed and evolved to embrace and adopt the principles of the Federation. And while reading it and understanding it and relying on others is important, first-hand knowledge and experience through a museum of memories, unlike any museum you've ever experienced, it'd be beneficial and would honor us.
I believe in honoring you. One of the key Klingon virtues is honor. However, my time is valuable. That's why I'm going to be the last one to come to this meeting. I have every confidence that the Federation has already vetted your historical background. And I am not interested as this final part of the journey, nor is it my obligation to check on your history. I am relying on previous encounters that you find people have already made with the Federation in this aspect. What I am interested in is this great war that almost eliminated your civilization. Now, if you can provide memories or give me a context, Klingons are very proud warriors. And what I'm very interested in finding out is this war that almost devastated your civilization. I have two questions. One, how did it start? And two, how did it resolve? Meaning, was it a civil war, or was it against another race?
Well, we believe that the Museum of Memories would help illuminate this exact thing.
Right.
But
Clearly, we are not. I'm just going to hold you up right there. I am not going through your museum. I appreciate your offer very much. However, I am not interested in your museum. We do not think like you. You have different abilities than we do. And you have to understand when working with the Federation, you're working with numerous different races and cultures. We do everything we can to respect that. And as I've said before, we have had others go through some of this with you already. My job here is to verify, not go through something somebody has already been through.
You get a hail from the USS Steadfast. Captain, we have a message coming in from Admiral Franco. Do you?
Can I link Hugo in on that call? That message? Can we link up securely and not have anybody else hear us?
Yes. Though obviously the people that you're addressing will know that you're in a conversation.
We probably
I thought he was just giving us a message. Is he actually wanting to talk?
Well, I mean, you'll be distracted if you need to hear him. You'll be distracted, right? So,
I'll probably step up and say, the captain is a little bit tired from the trip. We would appreciate if you could give us a 15-minute break, and then we'll go ahead and proceed with all the events you have planned.
Just code for "shut the heck up, Captain."
Klingons
you
never
are
get
ruining diplomatic relations. Stop being a curmudgeon, Klingon.
Of course, says Kolikon Vaughn.
I do the little flip of the communicator.
All right.
Okay.
Tap them. Stuff.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. What you hear is this. This is Admiral Franco, and I have received your message. I'm not sure what you're talking about. I am unfamiliar with a Captain Madeline Erickson or a mission of a ship to a Klingon warbird, you said? Please get back to me as soon as possible.
Well, we're going to call this trip short, aren't we, Hugo?
And
man.
And with that, I think we will call this session to an end.
Man, okay.
So, you have a cleanup issue on aisle 3 on this planet that I've created.
Yes.
And you have a security issue up on the Steadfast. So I'm looking forward to the next episode where you have to balance both of those.
Oh man, this is gonna be a total mess.
The Klingons are good at starting problems, then finishing them after everyone's dead.
Yeah. Now, at least let me tell you, I agree with your approach. I mean, if they want to get into the Federation, as much as I want to, follow etiquette, I mean, I see this like a business interview. So it's that you're gonna be challenged. That you're gonna be probably presented with difficult situations, and the result of it will depend whether you get accepted or not. I mean, if the decision was already taken, then it's all just protocols. Like, yeah, a couple of photo ops. It's like, let's have dinner, just call it a day.
Right,
so I agree. I mean, I know it's gonna be a mess, but you're right. I mean, how they respond to this, it's gonna be critical.
Right, because they're only going to show me the good stuff. They're not going to show me their problems, because every society obviously has them, especially the Vulcans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just kidding, Hugo. I know you got silent on me there for a second.
I know, and it's good. It's like I'll figure out the cleanup. You need some cleanup to do at the ship, so let's see.
Yeah, I think that's our most pressing matter. Is we better get back.
You know what? But it's okay. So good thing is we never told them we were getting a hold of.
That's true.
We never told them we were getting a hold of Franco. So we don't. I would probably say, don't open up
Don't
that
know.
card. Yeah, they don't know.
Right.
Yeah. Hmm. Interesting.
I can
Okay,
just
so yeah,
say I'm not feeling well. We'll come back tomorrow. Klingons diplomacy makes me ill.
All right. So
okay.
thanks everyone for watching. We'll be picking up with an episode 3 in February. Is when I expected we'll do the next one. So thank you for watching. Two Brothers Gaming and Death Die Club play Star Trek Adventures USS Steadfast. So yeah. Obviously, if you're watching us on Facebook or Twitch or YouTube, you know where Two Brothers Gaming's at. We also have a Twitter, Two Brothers Gaming. I can't even remember what our call sign is on that. Let me get that for you in case anyone wants to follow us there. So that is Two Brothers Gaming, all one word. With instead of gaming at the end, it's GAM8. So follow us there if you want to. So Hugo, where can people find Death Die Club?
They can also find us Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and of course in our blog, deathdieclub.com. Yeah, most of the stuff is in Spanish, but we try to have a couple of things in English, and as well, I mean, we have the whole Google Translate option. So, I mean, it's not perfect, but definitely it's better than trying to read Spanish if you don't know Spanish. So it works.
Yeah, which I certainly am. I do not know Spanish. I took French in high school for no reason other
Me
than
too.
And there was no good reason, but I do appreciate the Google Translate because it does help me keep up with what you have going on. So I think it works out pretty well. So it is really fun to follow your posts, particularly as you post up some of those like old school games that you guys interact with and play with. So it's great stuff.
A lot. Yeah, we're trying to keep it up to speed, but we still like old school a lot. So
yeah, very good. All right. Well, with that, then I'm going to switch us over, and we'll call it a game. So thank you, everyone.